Good morning, students. I hope you are all fine with a good health. Today, we are welcome back to the class of history, the part of social science. Yes, today we are going to learn a new chapter, the first war of Indian independence. Yes. Okay, let us move. In this topic, we are having some important background reasons for the first war of Indian independence. Okay, shall we discuss? With the help of with the objective of expanding the rule in India, the British brought many rules. Many provinces came into the control of the British because of their many rules they were implemented. These rules upset the Indians. Yes, understand? These rules upset the Indians' mind. They were dissatisfied with the rule of British administration. This dissatisfaction surfaced as a major revolt in 1857. This incident was called, British historians called Sepoy Mutiny. Sepoy Mutiny. But Indians called this incident was called the first war of Indian independence. Okay. Regarding this lesson, we are going to various aspects we are going to learn in this. They are cause of first Indian independence war. The second, spread and nature and the immediate cause and failure and its effects. Okay. Then, before, in the previous classes, we learned how the British extended their rule in India with the implementation of their different rules. They are subsidiary acts, doctrine of lapse, and tax systems, and many education policies. Okay. Now we are going to learn the cause of first Indian independence war. The first cause is the political cause. The second is economic causes. The third one is administrative causes. And the fourth is military causes. Then fifth one is immediate cause. Okay. Let us learn what were all the causes of first Indian independence war. First, we learn political causes. Why? How the political causes are cause of first Indian independence. The first thing is, many kingdoms lost their rights due to the introduction of doctrinal lapse introduced by British officer. Then, and also, who was implemented doctrine of lapse? Yes, Lord Dalhousie implemented which doctrine of lapse. This system this introduction of doctrine of lapse, the many of kingdoms were coming under the control of the British. They are Satara, Jaipura, Jhansi and Udaipur and many other kingdoms were coming under the British rule. Then second thing is, this same officer Dalhousie cancelled the princely states, princely titles of Nawabs of Tanjavur and Carnatic kingdoms. Yes, this Dalhousie cancelled the princely titles of Nawabs and Nawabs of Tanjavur and Carnatic kingdoms. This was the second upset for Nawabs and Carnatic region kings. This was also a political cause for the first Indian independence war. The third important thing is the Mughal sultans and the Nawab of Oudh and other kings were stripped of their kingly status. Then the fourth cause is that consequently thousands of soldiers who were dependent on these kings became unemployed. These four important political causes to start the first war of Indian independence. The second main cause for this war shall we discuss the economic causes. Okay, what are all the economic causes due to first war of Indian independence? Yes, due to the industrial revolution in England in the 18th century, England can see an industrial revolution. But in those days, Indian handicrafts, due to the industrial revolution in England, the impact on the Indian handicrafts and cottage industries suffered heavily. Then, the second economic cause, the Indian craftsmen became unemployed. The textile and wool industries became sick and people lost their jobs because all the things which were sold by the British, they were attractive and they were sold in cheap prices. So everyone attracts the cheap prices like China items. Afterwards, our Indian craft and cottages were suffered a lot. So our craftsmen became unemployed, the textile and wool industries became sick, and people lost their jobs. Then the third economic cause, the British imposed a heavy tax. On whom? Yes, they imposed heavy tax on the sale of Indian goods in England, which are export from here to England. They imposed heavy taxes for Indian goods. This was also a major economic cause for the upset of Indians against the British. The fourth economic cause, an Indian commission was appointed and all the Inam lands were taken back. Due to this, the farmers suffered financial misery. Then, the third major cause for the first Indian independence war was the administrative causes. Yes, the British brought into force new civil and criminal laws for Indians. These laws were applicable only to Indians, not to the British. This was very upset for Indians. And then the third administrative cause, English became the language of the courts. Yes. During those days, our Indians, common people, they don't understand the English language. In those days, they suffer a lot to implementation of the English languages in the courts, and because they do not understand for the common people, this was the main cause of administrative cause. Then the fourth administrative cause was, most of the time the British judges favored to the British. Most of the British judges favored to the British. Then the fourth major cause for the first Indian independence was the military cause. The condition of the Indian soldiers in the British army was pathetic. Yes, once again, the condition of the Indian soldiers in the British army was pathetic. Because the religious sentiments of the Indian, the next one is the religious sentiments of the Indian soldiers were hurt. They were forced to cross the oceans to serve on foreign lands. Yes, they are pressured to war against the other countries without taking any consent of the Indians, and also it was traditionally it is sentimental thing for Indians to cross the ocean and serve the foreign lands. Then the fifth major cause, that is immediate cause for the first war of Indian independence. What is that immediate cause? That is a rumor spread among the soldiers. The rumor said among the soldiers. What is that? That the cartridges using in the gun, the cartridges using in the Royal Enfield rifles were greased with the fat of new cow and pigs. This was the major cause. A rumor was spread among the soldiers that the cartridges used in the Royal Enfield rifles were greased with the fat of cow and pigs. This was the first immediate cause. The second immediate cause, which cows were sacred to Hindus. What they were gave for soldiers, Enfield guns, which is used, greased with cows, fat of cows and pigs. The cows were sacred to Hindus. Cows were sacred to Hindus, and pigs were blasphemous for Muslims. It is prohibited for Muslims Pigs were prohibited for Muslims, but cows were sacred for Hindus. This was the main immediate. These two are the main immediate causes. Okay, one is administrative cause, economic cause, political cause, then immediate causes. These military causes. These are all the major cause for the first war of Indian independence. Okay. Afterwards, then read eruption of revolt and spread. Eruption of revolt and spread. Yes, war erupted at Barakpur. Yes, in Barakpur, and later it spread at Meerut. This erupted at Barakpur. First, it is started in the Barakpur. Soldiers were the gathering for march. Or erupted at Barakpur, and later it spread to Meerut, Delhi, Kanpur, Jhansi, Lucknow, and many other places. It was erupted. Then, in Barakpur, what incident was happened there? Have you studied in the previous classes about the person who was the military soldiers in the British military? His name was Mangal Pandey. Yes, the rumor already was told. The rumor can be spread. Rumor could be spread in the army troops at Barakpur. This led to severe dissatisfaction among the soldiers. When the British officer ordered the Indian soldiers to pull the safety catch with the help of their teeth, they pull the safety catch from the Enfield gun. This incident, the soldiers rejected and the command and revolted against their superiors. The command and revolted against the superior officers, the British superior officers. An Indian soldier named Mangal Pandey killed a British officer. Subsequently, he was arrested and tried, and also he was hanged by the British East India Company. Then, afterwards, after this incident, this was spread to the Meerut first. In Meerut, when the British ordered the Indian soldiers to use greased cartridges, the soldiers refused to carry out the order. Then, afterwards, when revolted the soldiers against the British officers, the soldiers were imprisoned. Many of the Indian soldiers were imprisoned. As a result, there was a revolt in Meerut. Then Indian office soldiers rushed into the prison and released the soldiers jailed. Then later it is spread to Delhi. First it was started in Barakpur, then it was spread to Meerut, then it is spread this war to Delhi. Later the group of soldiers went to Delhi from Meerut. Group of soldiers went to Delhi from the Meerut. They laid siege on the Red Fort. They seized on the Red Fort and declared the Mughal king. Bahadur Shah II was our emperor of India. They declared all the soldiers who went from Meerut to Delhi. They reached Red Fort and they declared our Bahadur Shah, second Mughal emperor. He was our Indian emperor of India. So like that they were declared. Protesting soldiers from different parts of India reached Delhi. Different parts of India, not only from the different parts of India, all were went to the Delhi and gathered there around the Red Fort. Consequently, the protest became serious. Then it spread of Kanpur, it spread to the Kanpur. In Kanpur, Nana Sahib rose in protest. Then Tatya Tope was his assistant. Nana Sahib's assistant was Tatya Tope. But Kanpur fell into the hands of the British. Fell into the hands of the British. Then, afterwards, this was spread to the Lucknow. Okay. The heat of the revolt was felt in Lucknow also. But ultimately, Lucknow was taken over by the British. Lucknow was taken over by the British. Then, afterwards, after spread to Lucknow, it continued the spread to Jhansi. Even today, the Queen occupies a pride of places in the history of the independence struggle. Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai who was enraged by the doctrine of lapse, declared war against the British. Then even she tied her adopted son to her back and fought in the war. She took Gwalior under her control. Great. When Kanpur fell into the hands of the British, Tatya Tope, who was assistant of Nana Sahib, came to the Jhansi to help the Queen of Rani Rani Lakshmi Bai. Then, when the battle took place again with the British, the Queen laid down her life. Then, these are all what we have learned. The major causes for the first Indian independence war we discussed. Then, how it was spread throughout India. Now, this war was failure. Okay. What were all the causes? What were all the reasons for the failure of the revolt? Yes, the first one is the movement did not spread to the whole country. The first thing, why our Indian kingdoms and other revolt groups were failed to attain our freedom, because this movement did not spread to the whole country. The first thing. The second is not well organized struggle. This was not well organized struggle. The third was lack of proper direction. The fourth was lack of organization. There is no organization found there. Then fifth reason was the lack of strategy. When we are going to planning against someone, we must have some strategies. They used strategies at the warfare. So, lack of strategies and expertise among soldiers and lack of expertise among soldiers, and lack of effective leadership, and lack of discipline, and lacking in direction. So these are all the major causes. And another one is lack of goal among sepoys, because this was very important. Every sepoys or soldiers should have a goal, but our Indian soldiers did not have any goals. So this was also main reason. That then many provincial kings did not support to this struggle. Then the people lost confidence in the soldiers due to their erosion and looting, harassment and looting. They are using these two bad habits our soldiers was doing. And then, okay, let us shall we read what were the effects of war? What were all the effects of war we'll discuss. Yes, the first one is the administration of company came to end. British East India Company administration came to an end. Then, as the administration was taken over by the Queen of England. Then the third effect was the Queen of England made a declaration and promised a stable government to India. See, this was very important effect after the British, after the first war in Indian independence. It is not completely failure, but it was successful. Some important factors. Then ambitious expansion plans had to be given up. Ambitious expansion plans had to be given up. The British East India Company having an ambitious expansion in India, but it has given up after this war. Then not interfere in religious matters of the country. Afterwards, the any British rulers or British East India Company cannot be interfere in the religious activities of our country. These are the main and major effects of war. Okay, regarding this topic, we are discussed about the factors, the causes of first Indian independence war. The next one is spread the war in our country. Then decline, the causes of failure. Then we discuss also effects of war. Okay, thank you, Manala.
Did you see the grease material given to the sepoys Mangal? Everyone says it is animal fat. It is extracted from the cow and the pig.
Hey, I will kill the ones who scoff at our traditions. We have to bite the cartridges before use. I cannot use this.
Their ultimate aim is to drive all of us home and appoint British soldiers in our place.
This is atrocious. The cow is venerated by us. Giving us cow fat is the worst insult to us.
Let us put an end to this. Let us protest. Let us see an end to this.
The cartridge was greased with animal fat, primarily pig fat and cow fat, which animals are not consumed by Muslims and Hindus respectively. The former being abhorrent to Muslims and the latter a holy animal to the Hindus. The cartridges had to be bitten at one end prior to use. The revolters thought that this was an international act of the British. The aim being to humiliate the soldiers by insulting their religious sentiments. The next day, the cartridge was given to everyone, including Mangal Pandey. Mangal threw the packet down. The officer, Lieutenant Bond, who noticed this, was shocked. This was the first time an Indian soldier had shown the courage to disobey orders.
Hey you, pick it up.
Mangal did not answer. His friends were with him.
Hey, you, pick it up.
Mangal did not move. It came as a surprise to all the soldiers who were observing this incident. Suddenly, the officer takes his gun and gives a blow to Mangal Pandey on his shoulder. Mangal Pandey falls down. The next moment, he rises from the ground and gives a blow on the face of the officer with his gun. The whole crowd had the shock of their lives. The officer was stunned for a moment.
You, seize him.
Suddenly, a British soldier seizes him and assaults him. Mangal Pandey falls down. News spreads like wildfire everywhere. No one dared to attack a British officer of a regiment. This was the first time in Indian history. This incident was the first act of what came to be known as the Sepoy Mutiny of 1857, or the First War of Indian Independence. On 29th March 1857, at Barakpur near Calcutta, Mangal Pandey started the first protest against the British. Egged on by this protest, revolts arose in many parts of the country. A few days later, at Barakpur, Lieutenant Bore was informed that soldiers of his regiment were in an excited state. The British soldiers approached Lieutenant Bore.
Sir, the British soldiers are very violent.
Don't tell me the same story again. I don't want this fellow Mangal Pandey to do any mischief again.
So, we should have strong evidence to hang him.
What sort of evidence do they require?
On that day, all the soldiers present were Indian. Only you and me were British. The Indian soldiers will not betray Mangal Pandey.